Okay, so the next thing I need to do before heading out into the shop is to create a toolpath in Vcarve for the CNC. So basically what this is if I zoom out, you're not seeing anything else on the drawing right now. This is on the SketchUp file, but yet if you look at all these tabs up on top here, every one of them leads to something. Like I click on that one, and it automatically goes to the table. I click on that one, it goes to that, it goes to that, it goes to the post, etc., etc. So, but I have one tab up here called CNC. I click on that, and what that does is that if I zoom out now, everything else is all hidden. It's still there, but it's all hidden, okay? And so this is a group. You can see the blue line. So what I want to do is go inside that group, and this is where I keep all of my CNC files, the 2D version of it. So this one here is going to be for the tray itself. I'm going to hide that. Now what I have is a group, but there's only one thing in that group, which is that particular tray. The dimensions are okay, they can stay where they are. So then I do a file, I save as, and on this one I need to make sure that I drop down here to the drop down list, save it as a 2017, save. Remind me I've done it before, but then I'm going to head over to Vcarve. Okay, so now in Vcarve I click on create a new file. And the last one I did, the width was 4.5 as well. This one is 11 inches long, and I use 3/4 inch material, so I'm going to say OK to that. Then I will go up to this one right here, import vectors. I'll click on that. It'll show my list of files, and there's that one that I just saved in version 2017. These are all my settings, and I don't know how I got there. Again, I don't use Vcarve for anything else. I don't design in it. I don't even know how I made these, but it was just trial and error. Eventually, that's what I keep. So you're welcome to put it on pause and see what those steps are, or those settings are. So I'm going to say OK, and then when it comes in, it always comes in offset. Again, there's probably a reason for that. I don't know what that reason is, and so I just live with it. I go to this one here, align selected objects. I click that, and I go up to the center one up here, and then it automatically centers it for me. So I'm going to click close, and so everything is there now. Now I'm going to click somewhere else on the screen, and then I'm going to start selecting individual portions of this, and then from there I'm going to create my toolpath. So for instance, I'm going to start there. That's a 3/8 inch item, and so I am going to go to here. That one I want to be a 3/8. The pegs are only going to be 5/8 deep, so that's 0.625. And then this is PVC. Now I got to be careful, because if I ever go into a different material, I don't want to have these settings, but I'm going to drop that down to 3 passes, which is fine in PVC. And then I'm going to create a pocket or a path named 3/8 inch peg. And then I usually type in at 0.625. That reminds me of how deep I'm going in on that one. I'm going to say calculate. I don't bother running any of these tests right away. I wait until later. Now it always goes down to that. So I'm going to use these, zoom in a little bit. Then I'm going to select something else in there. So for this case, I'm going to select all of these guys. And then I'm going to hold my shift key down and click on this one and that one. Those are all 1/4 inch holes. So I can click on here, do the same thing on this guy here, and then those I want to go full through because they're peepholes, so I'm going to do 0.75. And then again on passes, that's a 1/4 inch bit making a 1/4 inch hole. So I'm fine with 2 passes. It's just going to basically go straight down through the PVC. And then those would be all 1/4 inch holes at 0.75. Again, that's the depth. Calculate. Now I'm going to jump back up to my 2D view, and usually I start from the top every time and work my way down. So now I have all these slots that are going to be for plywood. So I'm shift selecting, and then I'm going to go down. I'm holding the shift key down, selecting from left to right those, and selecting that guy. So I should have all of my slots selected, which I do. So I go up to here again, close, click on the same one here. Those I all want to be 0.625. Any shallower than that, the plywood doesn't stay in the slots very well. Now that one again is PVC, but I did learn that I don't want to go too deep on those because they just leave a lot of dust in the path. I didn't hit calculate on that, so going back in there, and then those are 1/4 inch ply slots at 0.625. Enter or calculate. And then let's go back to the 2D view again, and then it's a lot of times it's easier if I just unclick anything, so it's easier to see. So there I have everything up here so far has been selected. Okay, what I haven't done is down here, and by the way, I'm going to save these for later. I'll explain why. So this is the router, this is the dust port, I call it, and you'll see how that comes into play. And that one I am going to use the outer portion, but I'm only going to go down 0.375 with that. 0.375. Again, that's a dust port. Now, passes, it can handle that in 2 passes. I've tried it and it works. It's a little bit, you know, it wouldn't do it in anything but PVC, but I'm going to call that the dust port at 0.375. Again, this is just for reference purposes. It's not any kind of actual calculation there. Now I'm going to go back over to here. Again, you can see all those little arrows there kind of disturbing me, so I'm going to just turn that off. And then I'm going to click on the inner one. And again, the outer one will have already been done down to 0.375. So what I can do here now is go back to this. This one I can say start the depth at 0.375. And then you'd say 0.375 continue, but for some reason it doesn't like to handle both of those and make it all the way through. So I just go to 0.40. It just seems to, that little extra seems to work. And again, on edit passes, that can be done in 2 passes. And then we could use tabs on those and things like that, but I don't like to use tabs on router templates, because then you end up with these little bumps where you cut the tabs out and then the router tends to jump on those. So I don't think I saved that. I didn't. So I'm going to go down here, and that's the router inner start 0.375. That kind of reminds me that I started at 375 because I don't want to change the order of these. And then I'll type in plus 0.40. Again, you never want to change the order of those because I don't want to start in something that doesn't have a routered section already there, if that makes sense. Okay, so I think I've got everything that I want for this side of that template. So let's just go to the 3D up here, and then I'm going to click up here. I hide my all the stuff over here. Okay, so just to make sure, I hit reset. I'm going to turn off everything, and I'm going to turn them back on. So now I have all of them on. Now if I hit preview table or preview visible toolpaths, it's doing what I told it to do. So it made the 3/8 inch. It partially through. It made all of those smaller holes, the peepholes and some other stuff, all the way through. And then it made all those slots partially through. It made the cavity for the router dust that I wanted partway through, and then it made the full through on that. So I'm good to go. So now I have to click on that, so I select all of them, say close, and then I'm going to go up to the save toolpath, and then I'm going to click on save toolpath. And then I'm going to say template, I call it template A, and then maybe side, let's call it side A, so we know it's the front or the top. And then I usually put in a date, so today is year 22, dash 30, today's the 30th, dash, 05, the month, then dash 30, then dash 01 for the version. So that's just my way of doing things. It works. And so now I've got that going for me. Now what I want to do is go over to basically what would be the other side. So now what I want to do is work on the other side. So I'm going to click on that to basically hide them all. Now the other side, I want this one, and then I'm going to shift select that and shift select that. Now I should have all 3 of those. And I do, okay. And then on those, I want, this is going to be the other side, and I want a depth of 0.375. These are going to be for a festool type clamp to go in there that'll stay below the router base. So edit passes, I can drop down to 2. Again, this is PVC. So I'm going to say okay. And then I'm going to call those I'll just call it Festool slots, just to remind me, at 0.375 and say calculate. Now that one I want to test all on its own because that's going to be the other side. So everything else was tested earlier. That's where you have to click on reset preview. So I basically clean it up, and then I want to make sure I have a clean slate before I do this. But now I'm going to go down and click only that one. It's going to show what those are. I'm going to hit preview visible toolpaths, and it looks like it's going to make it. And by the way, on this, if you notice, there's a little tiny bit at the end left over. It seems like Vcarve does not like to go all the way to the end of a board. So I either had to fake the width of the board to do this, or I just come in 1/64 of an inch on each end and then end it right there. Well, what happens is the bit actually goes into there and cuts most of that out, and then I just take a knife and shave the rest. You'll see how that actually gets handled. So now I want this as a separate toolpath, so I'm clicking on that one, say close, and then I go up here to save the toolpath. I save the toolpath, and then I'm going to have a similar name, which is this one right here. So in the template, I'm going to say template A side B. I'm just going to change that to a B. That's the easiest way to do it. And then all the rest of the stuff, the date and everything is there. So now I have those saved. And so now all I need to do is go to my into here, right? And then do a copy of those files and then save them on over to a thumb drive. So I'll do that. And then when I leave here and leave the desk, I'll leave here with a thumb drive in my pocket and head out to the workshop.